Good morning, everybody. My name is Simran, and our group today will be discussing on the topic: is media losing its freedom to political power? So, over the years, we've seen a lot of issues when it comes to media. We've seen journalists being murdered for their beliefs, for them writing against politicians. And now, in this modern era, we see a lot of information might be getting suppressed. You cannot say much about China, you cannot say much about Russia, of these superpowers. In India itself, you can't say much against the ruling party from what people have said. So we are just going to discuss and see, is media truly losing its freedom, or is media just giving in for their own benefit? So we're going to start. So Saksham, what do you think about this?
I think that media has not lost its freedom. Media has lost itself to freedom. In view of TRP, media portrays various fake information that we can see are circulating on the social media, on the broadcasting TV, in the newspaper articles. We can see everywhere that fake information and information which is not verified is being given around. And there is a level of biasness which is present. As you talked about, the ruling party is suppressing the voice of the media, but that is not always the case, as we have seen that there have been many instances on TV as well as on newspapers and blogs like The Wire in the TV, where the Prime Minister of the country has been abused on air in front of the whole nation.
See, yet again, you're speaking about how media brought bad things to the public. In my point of view, media is something that brought good news also. So you wouldn't have known about various things about what's happening in the nation or what's happening around the world. Okay. The main point that I want to prove is here that media is not bad always. So you're listening to the 1% of the bad news that you're talking about now, and I'm talking about the 99% of the good news that you guys are reaching. So that's my point of view.
But
Okay.
I disagree with your point, Satish, because India being the fourth pillar of the constitution, democratic nation. According to, I would like to give some facts. According to World Press Freedom, India was at the rank of 135th, but in 2022, India is at the rank of 158. So the freedom of the press is degrading now in 2022.
Yeah, and I would like to add, I would say yes, greed is one factor contributing. I mean, the greed, I think we could see from the biggest incidents when we were having the Bollywood drug case in 2020. We could see Arnab Goswami on one side, Kangana Ranaut on the other side. Yeah, I know it was one of an incident, but in all that Bollywood drug case, we could also see that it's just Arnab Goswami supporting BJP and Kangana Ranaut on the Maharashtra state government side. Sorry, no, both of them were on the same side. It was them with the BJP against the state government of Maharashtra, only to gain political favor. And I think also another factor other than greed could be fear. Fear leading to greed maybe in a way, because since December 2021, around 193 journalists only in India itself have been killed so far for their opinions. So would you say that it's fear and greed, a mixture of both?
But Simran, you cannot point out only one party who is ruling, like who is the ruling party of the country.
But it's also the most powerful party in India.
Before 2014, it was Congress.
Yes, but now in BJP, don't you think there is more, what you can say, personally I feel like there's more casteism going on, more discrimination with minorities, being a minority.
You talk about power. If there was an issue about the power, I don't think so any person in the whole of India would have been able to say things like they said to the Prime Minister, who is the head of that ruling party.
Exactly, but wouldn't you say the person saying is getting backup from the other political parties?
Exactly, that is what I'm saying.
Yes, but it's still, I mean, if you look at other journalists, a lot of them are favoring, aren't
So,
they?
you can say there are few news channels and few journalists who favor Congress and the political party.
Yeah, I do agree with what Sri said. Like there are certain news channels or news publications that specifically rant about the ruling party because they basically highlight those points which are totally against what they have done wrong in the economy. But what we all should think is the media outside should have an unbiased opinion And instead of keeping all those reviews in the umbrella of either black or white, they should have a mixed unbiased opinion and should keep it in the umbrella of gray. Like they should point out the good things they have done and the bad things they have done.
And do you think there is a way where media can have an unbiased opinion? Is other solutions we as a public could make by any chance?
But Simran, see, the main work of the media should be the news, not to give the verdict about the topic.
Exactly.
The work of giving verdict to the nation is of the court. But what nowadays media is doing is they are giving verdict on their news channels, TV debates.
Yeah.
Exactly. So as sorry.
Yeah, but
So as citizens of India, what do you think we can do? Do you think we could boycott media for that, or what solution?
Boycotting is not the option. Every media house needs some amount of profit to run their house. This is pretty obvious.
Boycotting is not an option because at the end of the time, media is the only source which is providing information to the people who are not aware of it.
But what about social media? Where
Social media-
anyone can upload anything. What?
Social media is something that needs to be worked on.
This depends upon the viewers who are viewing this news, that news, and they should verify that news.
Verification of the news on social media is way more important than the news itself.
exactly as Saksham and Sri mentioned that before the verdict is out by the judiciary, there are media trials that we say basically they pass their own opinion on that particular case and they indirectly defame that person or party. So which I think is not correct. You should put your opinion, but not give your have a strong opinion or something like that, defame that party or person.
See, it again, it's their personal opinion and they have their rights. There's no rule such as you shouldn't talk about it. Or that's media. So they are going to impact people. That's why it's called media. So they're going to talk about their personal opinion and how it will impact people. So that's their rule, right?
I have a question though. Due to all this corruption in media, what do you think we as a public, what's the effect on us, positive and negative?
I think mostly it is a negative effect because, as you told, there is corruption. So there are media publications which favor one, which favor two, and because of which the public is divided. Like if you favor one section of the society, you will only watch those media, and if that media is giving you not verified news, so you will not get the actual news, and you will be under what do you say?
You'll have
Under an
a
opinion
wrongly
that,
biased
yeah, you'll
opinion.
have a totally biased opinion, and you won't know the actual reason behind what is in the news.
I think personally for me as a student, we had an incident in our town where our local newspaper was actually supporting the ruling party, which is the BJP, and the school where my mother was teaching was fully supporting the Congress party. They funded elections and everything to an extent. So when the results came out for students, the toppers, their pictures were not there in the local newspaper, the only local newspaper of our town, which was very demotivating to students. So do you think that is like something fair, especially on students, innocent students?
It is absolutely not there because students are the youth of the country. They need to be aware about this. They need to be motivated and all. But as we know now, the media is biased, not just because of power or freedom, because of other forces as well.
Yeah.
So we need to take up steps in order to promote. I would like to say that. Betterment of media, better steps should be taken to improve the media quality that is going on right.
That is now to India. Outside India, could we discuss some incidents?
Outside India, I think probably most of the news channels and papers are mostly against India. You can see the New York Times, the Washington Times, BBC, and Al Jazeera. All of them are usually whatever happens in India, they won't portray you the good news.
Exactly.
Only the negative impact is being shown on those channels to degrade the level of India in front of you.
If you remember during the second wave, internationally there was so much of media pressure on India. But then the European Cups, World Cup started, Soccer Cup. Over there, people were not maintaining any COVID precautions at all. Nobody talked about that. They hyped up the European World Cup. But for India, for a small event, we see so much happening.
That is the case.
World media is also biased. When COVID came, no one talked about how COVID came. Like there was little knowledge about how COVID came. No one talked about how COVID was leaked from China.
Because
but
you can't
everyone
say
talked
that.
about the death that came in that happened in India.
Yeah. Because again, you cannot say much about China. It's a superpower. The president is a dangerous man.
Exactly. This is a big example that how what freedom exactly is. In India, you are allowed to say what you want. While in China, if you say something against the government, against the prime minister, you will be hanged.
See, and again, it comes down to the government. Which government is giving you that legal or freedom to talk about yourself?
The right of freedom of expression is not given by the government, it is given by the constitution.
Yeah.
So,
Personally, for me, I live in the UAE, and over there we cannot say anything against the government at all. Internationally, you will hear so much about the UAE. Inside the country, we are quiet. We ourselves don't know what's happening with the government. All we know is that we're getting a good amount of salary and we're enjoying our life. They're not, interfering that way. So
Like we know, the biased media will find in every country, but the constitution has that power to provide the media that to look at the news from the unbiased opinion. So it's up to the
But then again, the constitution is governed, managed by the government. The government is suppressing the media.
but Simran, I think the biasness of the media is very subjective. For someone it can be biasness, for someone it can be the right.
Do you think there is any external force other than the government that could protect the media?
Stakeholders, owners of the media houses.
I don't think so. The only thing that can save the media or that can improve the media is the public itself. The public needs to take right actions, verify the news. I mean, don't just watch news channels which provide flashing and breaking news and all that.
Like personally, when I go for MUNs, they do not recognize BBC as a source of information because again, BBC is very biased.
Biasness is what media is, which is the main problem in media.
strongly different in our
What would you say in regard to the United Nations with their media? This is a constitution of whole nations. Do you think their media is also biased?
I'm not actually sure about that, but I don't think so. Any country basically gives any, follows rigorously about what the United Nations is. I don't think
So
so.
would you agree that when it comes to the United Nations, they display more about the superpowers, what they are doing?
Exactly. United Nations itself, I guess, is governed by the superpowers itself, US, Russia, and all. The Security Council is basically what they say is what the UN preaches to the world.
Yeah, and do you think it's affecting the UN media in some way?
I am not
Superpowers?
actually sure.
Yeah. Personally, for me, I feel like the Russian-Ukraine war, we are having it now. Nothing much is being said in media. The United Nations is not saying anything. Again, superpower influence. Are there any more points to be added?
I would like to say that the media, being the fourth pillar of our democracy, needs to step up their game from what they are right now. Like yesterday, I was reading an article about media biasness and media TRP. So instead of talking about the issues which are prevalent in the country, there was a news channel which was showing the news on a report on whether aliens drink cow's milk or not. If these type of news is being portrayed or shown to the public, I don't think so. We are anywhere near to where we want to be.
So do you feel like they're just giving information now, like aliens drink cow's milk for the hype of it?
Exactly. Just for increasing the TRP, they take up any random topic and they take up anything.
So do you think Gen Z, millennials, Gen Zs and alphas in general, do you think we rely more on TV news channels or on social media?
For Gen Z and alphas, I guess we rely more on social media.
Yes.
And the millennials are more attached to the broadcasting news, which is newspapers and
Yeah. I think a few late millennials would still be on social media. Yeah. So would you follow social media news channels pages like Faye D'Souza's page? Would you rely on that?
I would not rely on something unless it is actually verified by the authority which related to which the news is going on. For example, if there is news going about any step taken by the health ministry, I would not agree to the news unless it is declared or given by the health ministry itself.
See, again, it's up to you how much you are like above 18, so of course you should know what is the right news and what is the wrong. So eventually they're going to put out the proper news which you're going to see in the authentic way. Like for example, you're going to go through like newspapers articles if you are interested in that case. So that's what I mean.
And you said like if the authority verifies, but again the authority might be having that bad influence, corrupt influence on the media. So do you think the media system is imperfect?
Obviously, media system is not perfect. We have all seen.
Do you think it can be perfected in any way? Because again, anything, the government is like the biggest part.
I don't think that the media can be perfect. There will always be imperfections. There will always be pressure. There will always be powerful people handling the media. As you can see, most of the media channels are owned by politicians or very high businessmen. As the recent acquisition of NDTV was done by Walmart Army. And News 18 is a channel which is News 18 Group Network is owned by the Reliance Industries. There are many channels like News 24 is the News 24 major stake is owned by Rajiv Shukla, who is a member of the parliament from the Congress party. The News is Subhash Chandra, who is from the Bharatiya Janata Party in the Rajya Sabha. There will always be powerful people who will try to control you, but it is the responsibility of the media to take the right step to provide the right information to the public, because it is at the end the public is what the news to the public is what matters at the end.
And do you think we as like Gen Zs, Gen Alphas who are more aware about these things, do you think in the near future we might have a positive influence when we come into it?
We Gen Z and Alpha, I think we we don't actually get carried away by the news which is going on. We first need to verify. We first understand the news a little better, try to go into the depth of the news, and then make any comments or anything.
Yeah.
We don't need to be like the herd in the sheep in the herd. We don't need to just go on with what is going on. We need to verify the news first and then portray our point of view.
I agree. I feel like somewhat we are quite a few steps ahead of the older generation, and I think we will be better leaders also. Our generation will be more accepting to different people. So I think this has brought us to the end of our group discussion. Any closing statements?
The only thing I would like to say is these media houses would always be owned by the big businessmen, and there will always be some corruption in portraying the true news. But it's our own ethics and our belief that whether we want to rely on those news which are shown on our favorite news channels, or we want to verify the particular news. It's up to us.
I feel like personally for me, the people who have been impacted or who are in the story, I feel like they only will always know the ultimate truth, because somewhere information will be suppressed to us. But then again, we have to accept what's in front of us and we have to move on personally and make this world a better place. So we have come to the end of our group discussion. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.